Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today I'm having a examination. I did a video actually 1 month ago talking about my moldy watercolors. Now this is sort of an update to that video, and I have it pretty zoomed in. My pans are propped up on some books, and I wanted to talk about what I've done and what the result has been. So right now you're looking at my Schmincke Hudrum Aquarelle 36 pan set. And out of this set I was doing birds every day. And the only one that became problematic and started to get moldy was my ivory black. And I took a little spray bottle and I put 70% isopropyl alcohol into it. And I misted them down and sort of baked them in the sun for as long as I could before it started to rain. And then the next day I misted them down again after scraping and making sure there were no mold spores or fungal spores left. And waited. And I did that 3 days in a row. So I misted and sort of tried to bake them in the warmest room of our house. And so far, 1 month later, the ivory black is fine. Now I also have from Greenleaf and Blueberry handmade watercolors, and I have placed them in this pan as well to try and put them back into my rotation. So I use all my artist grade watercolors together. There's no point in dividing things out when they're all good quality and they should all be used. Now I've been looking under magnifying glass and my magnifying glasses, and most of the colors are fine. I did the exact same treatment where I sprayed with alcohol, tried to bake them in the heat in their metal tin, and then waited, and then did that 3 days in a row. Now some of these are different mixtures. This is from the Adventure set, and they have since updated quite a few of the colors in this set. They don't really have as many Mayan colors anymore. And I can tell you the Mayan colors are actually the most problematic with humidity. I live by the ocean. We have tons of humidity in our air. I mean, we have a 7-foot fern in our yard we've never watered. So we don't have to really water things here. Now, the pigment to binder ratio is going to be different in every single pan, which is why some of these that were never problematic are still fine. I can show you with my finger, like, how soft these are. And this is how they remain. So when I say like they're kind of tacky, I don't mean they dance to Muzak in public at the grocery store. They're sticky to the touch, and they don't really fully dry. They're very, very soft. Some of them dry better than others. This one kind of has like a hardened shell top. That's fun for him. And some of these are just incredibly soft. And this is how they are at all times. Now I can tell you, because of COVID and things, I haven't used my gold and silver. I typically use these for wedding gifts and stuff. And so I haven't used these in many years. And like my fingernail sinks right into it. Like they're very, very soft. So that's just how things are normally because of our humidity in our air. So let's look at the rest of the Greenleaf and Blueberry. And I have them, so they have little magnets on the back, so I have them stuck to this set. I hope it's not too distracting, but you can see this is the Mayan Violet, and it's starting to get a layer of mildew back on the top. So I would say after spraying it 3 times and baking it in the sun, it was fine for about 3 months. I have not used this. I did not use this for any of my watercolor challenge in December or January, and none of these have been put back in their containers. None of them have had lids on them. None of them have been in my storage cabinet. So everything has just been sitting out in the air with a piece of parchment over them, just to sort of reduce the risk of dust and pet hair and things from our cats jumping around. But this one as well, and this is the Mayan Red, and it's starting to mildew too. So between these two Mayan colors, the Mayan Violet being probably the absolute worst, it just looks like it's dusty on top. That's mildew. It shouldn't look like that. And you can see it's very soft to the touch. It's my stuff doesn't dry because of humidity. So I'm also currently, I should say, doing a no-buy art supply for 2022. So I won't be replacing colors. I also won't be buying any sort of heating element or sort of air dehumidifier or anything like that. So these are just going to kind of get sprayed every 3 weeks is how I'm going to move forward with this. I'm going to put in my calendar, hey, it's been 3 weeks. Time to spray them for 3 days in a row. Bake them in the heat. And then I'm hoping by the time June, May if we're lucky, June more realistically, when we have longer periods of sunshine, that these can actually start to dry a little bit. And then I'm going to do another update. So once our weather turns in October, which is when the sun is done and the rains come, these will start to soften again. So they very well may start to mold and mildew and grow fungal spores again. And I will update you again to see if that's something like, I've done everything I could, I baked them in the heat, and they still can't handle the humidity and moisture in our falls and winters. That may be something that these are only usable in the summer months, which is June to September, kind of. But I will never be using these for commissions or gifts just because of the nature of what they look like. I'm sure they'll dry just fine, but these will have to be used for print reproduction products and stuff just for little sketchbooks and things. So it's kind of a bummer because, again, at the time I spent $150 on this set of 12 because I wanted to try something locally made. I wanted to try something handmade and support smaller businesses. But the milling process makes these much more difficult to use. The particle size is very fine on top, and then they tend to settle within the pan as they harden. And the particle size on the bottom makes the painting process take much longer when I go to mix them and create illustrations. They just don't blend well with each other once you hit pan. And I haven't had anybody come forward and tell me that they have hit pan on their handmade watercolor sets either. And it's probably the price point. People just feel too nervous using them up, or maybe they have that sort of collector mentality where they're just collecting these because they find these attractive to look at or something. I'm not sure. But that is my experience with these pans, is they're just, for where we live and the inconsistency of trying to use it, they're just not very ideal. I would never give these to a beginner or a hobbyist because the more you work with them, the more difficult it becomes, and it becomes more time consuming. It becomes like a battle of just spending way too much time trying to blend and mix to achieve the same result that you can with machine milled pigments. So I hope this update was sort of informative. Again, I'll do another one probably in October, November. We'll see. If the mold and mildew comes back after being baked in the summer months, I'll do another update. It'll probably be my last update, and I'll just be like, hey, this is a sketchbook product and it's only for June to September, which is really, really ridiculous for an art supply to only be able to use it a couple months out of the year because it just starts falling apart from the weather. But here we are, and I'm determined to use my stuff and not collect it. So I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope this was a help, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.